Show host Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for caregivers.
You up. It's time to celebrate. Good afternoon and welcome to Connecting Caregivers, the show where you can find help and hope. With me, Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers, with love, laughter, and lessons learned, because you know I have a lot of all of that.
You do.
Yeah, I do. And chiming in is my best friend, my co-host, and my sidekick, not psychic, Lynn Thornley.
Good morning. Nice.
How are you today?
I'm doing better. It's going to warm up tomorrow.
That's what they're saying.
My cousin Janet sent me a picture of the snow up. It's like 3 feet of snow in
I
Montreal.
can't even think about it.
And then she said, Gary said he doesn't want to hear any complaints from me about the cool weather. So I'm not allowed to complain.
It's 60 degrees and we're like freezing
What
here.
was 40 this morning?
Yeah. Well, what was it like the other day when we went to Fox News? It was like a tornado.
Oh, there was one hit Seminole.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my neighbors said that everything was ripped up at her sister's house. Just went down like one block.
Yeah, one mobile home park really got whacked.
What a mess. But I had the opportunity to be on Fox News this week, which was really good, and got to talk about the power of the card. The card that I have, that on the back it says the person I'm with has Alzheimer's and dementia and may not understand what you're seeing clearly or not act appropriately. Please be patient with them. So I got 128 requests from the listeners of Fox News for the card.
Oh,
so
you'll be busy.
Very busy sending out a lot of cards yesterday, but it just delights me in how much a little card can make such a big difference.
Yeah, well, the host, Chris, was very impressed with it.
Yeah, and what was cool this morning, even there was a new person at the support group at Arden Courts, and we said something about something. I said, you need one of these cards. And I gave him the card, and he was like, oh, could I have 3? I was like, you could have 10. Because it's really, it's just a fantastic thing. Yeah. So I want to give a shout out to our newest listeners. We have, mixing up my papers, Irene in California, Cheryl Lynn in Strathmore, Alberta, Chris in Clearwater, and then our boys in Boynton Beach.
Welcome.
Ray and Mac now have 2 friends that are watching also with them, Janie and Mike. So they're starting the little Connecting Caregivers group there in Boynton Beach. I'm hoping to speak there in the second half of this year. Maybe we'll get to meet them. Would be really great.
That would be fun.
Yeah, it would be really fun. So, I want to say at the beginning, we're going to talk to a couple of different people today, but I want to talk a little bit this morning, once again, about the benefit of a support group, because it's so important that I think for caregivers to get into a support group, because you're going to come there and you're going to learn things you didn't know before. Like when that gentleman walked in this morning, a couple of weeks ago, I did one in the support group and a woman came in and I said, welcome. And how come you're here today? How'd you hear about the group? And she said, my doctor said I need a support group.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, that's wonderful. And she said, well, what do you do here? So I said, we share information and resources and ideas and tips. And she goes, give me a tip. I said, excuse me? She says, give me a tip. I said, okay, I'm going to give you a tip, but I don't know if it's going to work for you, but this is the tip. I said, if your loved one has to go to the doctor's on Friday, don't tell them on Monday, because they're going to be asking you on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. I said, just tell them like an hour before they're going. She goes, oh my goodness. The other night, my husband was all dressed at 3:30 in the morning, sitting on the bed, waiting to go to the doctor's. She said, I think I'm going to like this group.
Yeah, she liked the tip.
Yeah, but that's what it is. Just those little things that you don't know and that you don't realize, and you get to talk to somebody else about it. It's so important.
Yeah, or go to the Tuesday tip and learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you can go listen to my Tuesday tip, and not just the support groups. Kate McCarty has the wonderful the memory cafes, where a memory cafe is actually you go and you bring your loved one with you. It's a little different than our support group. But one of the biggest things we were talking about in the support group this morning, I think is so important, is the socialization of our loved ones. Because I hear time and time again, mom just wants to sleep, or she doesn't want to go anywhere, or she doesn't want to do anything. Sometimes it's not asking, do you want to go? It's saying, come on, we're going. Or getting somebody else that's going to prompt them to get out of the house. But I see time and time again, someone that's been isolated in the house starts going to adult daycare, whether it's Maria's or Ruth's Promise or one of the many different things we have. They start to become social again. And that changes everything, because I think sometimes the tiredness is just because they're tired. I think other times it's because they're bored.
I think a lot of it's boredom.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's boredom. And if they can get to an opportunity where there are other people to hang out with, and lots of times too, when someone goes to adult daycare, and we don't say, "Mom, I'm taking you to adult daycare." It's usually like, we're going to go to this new club, or I have a place where, Mom, maybe you can go and volunteer. And one of the ladies was saying this morning, when her husband came home from Maria's the other day, he said, I helped a lady on with her sweater. Now, he can't get his own sweater on by himself because he can't get his sleeve, but he could help another woman.
And he felt good about it.
And he felt good about it. He felt good about it. So, we take so many things away from them and let them take so many things away from themselves. That I think that's one of the most important things. So try to get out there. And if you don't want to start with adult daycare or something, just go to a memory cafe. Or start bringing in some of your neighbors that have been saying they want to visit. And you keep saying another day. Just let them come in. They don't care if your house is messed up. They don't care if your spouse is going to say the wrong things. They just want to visit. And your spouse really needs that. And you really need that as the caregiver. So the guy in the group this morning said, I had to say to my wife, I need this. She said, I don't need this. He said, no, you don't need this, but I need this. Because he has someone that comes over for a couple hours twice a week. I don't need them. You can send them away. He said, no, you don't need them, but I need them. Because that gives him his twice a week where he gets to go to the gym and he just gets to go out and breathe a little bit. So I can't say more how important that is. So we have our caller calling in today, do we? Hello.
Hi, it's Renee.
Hi, Renee. How are you today?
Good, Linda. It's good to be with you.
It's good to be with you, and I can't wait to meet you in person.
I'm so looking forward. I'm so looking forward to getting to Tampa next week.
And can you say your name? We were trying to figure out
the proper pronunciation.
We came up with. What did we come up with?
I don't know. I wrote it on your paper.
Oh.
Whatever.
Anyway, it was. We said Chenault Fattah.
Oh my God, that's it!
Yay, Lynn!
Yay!
Because I figured Chenault is French,
right? And I'm from Ohio, so I don't speak a word of French.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and that's why I just say Renee because it's easier. But yeah, my name is Renee Chenault Fattah. But you got it right on the first time.
Good job, Lynn. Well, welcome, Renee. We're so glad you're here today. So
it's good to be with you.
It's great to be, and we're complaining that it's a little chilly down here, but I'm sure when you get here, you'll feel it's absolutely wonderful.
What is the temperature there right now?
It's only 63 now.
Yeah, it's freezing. It's 63 today.
Only. Oh my God, I'd give anything to be.
It's going to be 80 on Monday.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, I get in Tuesday, so do you think the 80 will hold?
Yes, it's going to be all week
next week.
So make sure you bring some warm clothes, cool clothes.
Cool clothes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Then we'll come down with my woolen.
Good. So I see Bernadette just coming into the studio. Yay, Bernadette. We're so glad that you're here today.
She got caught in a traffic jam.
And it also is Bernadette's birthday today. So we're going to wish a little happy
Bernadette.
Happy birthday to Bernadette. So, Renee, let's talk about this conference that's coming up. I am so excited that this is happening.
Thank you so much. Well, it wouldn't be happening without Bernadette and Arden Courts. They have been so supportive and helpful in terms of, putting together the panel that's going to follow the film that I worked on. I produced a documentary on Alzheimer's and other dementias in communities of color. And I focused on communities of color because I found that when I started the project about, goodness, almost 3 years ago now.
Wow.
I learned that if you're African American, Hispanic, or Native American, you're twice as likely to have the disease. And that number shocked me.
It is
and
shocking.
I figured if I was surprised, others would be surprised. So that's why I focused on, communities of color and the impact of Alzheimer's.
And so why do we think that these disorders are disproportionately affect communities of color?
Right. What it really comes down to in talking to researchers and scientists, what I learned was that the diseases, the chronic diseases like diabetes and stroke and heart disease, which are more common in communities of color, increase your risk. So therefore, if you're more likely to have diabetes or stroke, and those disorders are more likely to increase your risk of Alzheimer's, that's really the connection.
Oh.
Doesn't it also have something to do with lack of resources, lack of education, diet?
Diet, lifestyle, exercise. There's a whole list of factors, but that certainly is one of them. And I think that's what makes Alzheimer's and dementia so challenging, because it is not just one thing; it's a combination of things.
Right.
But yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's a whole list from stress to institutional racism to lifestyle. Just a host of contributing factors. But certainly one of the factors is just the chronic diseases that are more prevalent in communities of color and therefore increased risk.
And you know what I think it is too? A lot of the communities of color too, they're so focused on their family. They feel that this is my responsibility.
Absolutely.
It's not anybody else's responsibility. This is my responsibility to take care of my loved one. And it takes a village.
I tell you, I can't tell you the number of times I heard that, especially initially with caregivers who were going down this road. The feeling was that, like you just said, it's my responsibility. I can't share this. It would be done for me. I have to do it for my loved one. And without realizing the sort of all-encompassing responsibilities that come, that you can't do it alone. You shouldn't have to do it alone.
No, because no one should be working 24/7.
Exactly.
And that's what caregivers are doing. Caregivers are working in their sleep even.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And that's also why I wanted to do this documentary, to tell the story of caregivers and how important it is for our communities to support one another, to provide resources for caregivers. I heard so many caregivers tell me that, a family member will walk in the room and they'll say, well, how is the loved one who, is living with Alzheimer's, and don't ask about the caregiver,
Well,
so
it's the same when you have a new baby. Everybody knows the baby's name, but nobody asks mom if she slept last night.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and I think another important thing is, and I think this is, tell me if I'm wrong or right, with the African American communities and everything, is late diagnosis.
Yes, absolutely. I've done a number of screenings for the documentary so far, and after the presentation and after the panel discussion, I hear from members of the audience. They have a lot of questions, and so many of the questions center around this. We didn't get a diagnosis until it was too late. Or I went to the doctor and I said I thought I was, my loved one was starting to have issues, and they weren't addressing it.
Right.
So yes, late diagnosis, dismissing it as, well, this is just old age, versus no, there's natural memory loss from getting older. God knows I've got it. And then there's, memory loss that's something else. And there's a tendency not to acknowledge that.
Well, see, we also have to realize too, is we're living so much longer than we did before. So when I was a kid, the conversation was grandma's getting senile.
Right.
Well, grandma was 65 and grandpa was dead already.
Right.
So it was a whole different thing. When we have the conversations with caregivers about when you should take the keys away from your loved one from driving, well, they never had to do with that with their parents, because their parents never lived long enough for them to have to take the keys away, or their mom never drove.
Absolutely.
So I think we have to look at everything how it is today and where we're at. So Bernadette, we're so glad poor Bernadette got stuck in traffic, and she's
on your birthday.
There was an accident on the 275, and I saw that I quickly got off the interstate when I saw her. I'm like, I can't be late, but I mantraed myself the whole way. It's going to be okay. I'm going to be cool, calm, and collected.
And you are.
And I am.
And happy birthday to you.
Yes,
Thank you, everybody.
Birthday.
Thank you.
We're so glad you're here today.
Thank you.
So what made you decide to come to Tampa?
Was that for me?
Either one of you.
Oh.
I think
I don't know if
warm.
Right. It's Philadelphia. It's February. It's cold. No, that's certainly not the reason. Bernadette, I don't know if you had heard when I started off by saying that, I could not have done this without you and without Arden Courts. You have been so supportive in terms of helping me get the word out. So I'm coming to Tampa because of the support of Arden Courts and the willingness to say, this is an issue that deserves attention. And Bernadette, you have been, and I hope I've conveyed that in the emails, you have just been so supportive and so wonderful in terms of pulling everything together to help.
But thank you. It was easy to do because it was something that I've always wanted to do when I first started with Arden Courts 17 years ago, of realizing I had come from a nursing home background and I've seen the difference in the cultural backgrounds. Right. And then going to Arden Courts, we don't see as many African Americans, Hispanics move in with us because they do take on that burden. It becomes a cultural thing where they keep them at home. Yep. And even if it means to the death of the caregiver, and not to be so blunt and so true in your face about it, but it's the truth. And then if with this program and the documentary that I'm so glad that you put together, and I'm so grateful that I work for a company that supported this, that we can get the word out, and that I am pulling together some, hopefully they all can turn up, is the resources that will be available. So if the folks that are needing the services, that they will be connected with the different resources, from Medicaid to researchers, from different organizations, from the area agency on aging.
I always say how blessed we are to be in this Tampa Bay community, because there are so many professionals here that really do want to make a difference and put their money where their mouth is.
And it's amazing how many people do not realize, like the Alzheimer's Association. How many years I've been a volunteer with them before I worked for Arden Courts. And when I come across somebody, they're like, oh, I didn't know there was such an organization. So I think we're getting more and more awareness. And I think this documentary is going to help not just communities of color. I think this will help anybody that's dealing with this. And
because we're all the same.
Well, yes.
We're all the same and we're all dealing with it.
Yeah,
exactly. And I think if we pull together, and then the financial impact that this disease has on us as a community, it's very expensive. It's going to devastate us if we don't come up with some kinds of plans. So I'm real excited. I haven't cheated, and I haven't looked at the documentary, even though you sent it to me. I was very close to watching it last night, and I said, I want to be surprised. So, but you have been a pleasure to work with, even though we haven't met in person. But I feel like I've known you forever. So I'm so looking forward to meeting you.
Same way. Can't wait to see you.
So how did people react when you came to them about this documentary? Because if they don't even want to help, do they want to be in a documentary?
Well, you know what was really interesting, and that's why it has been such a passion project, because it is such a personal subject. Yeah. That when people were willing to share their stories with me, it gave me such a sense of responsibility that, you have to be sensitive. You have to do this right. And what was most rewarding is that on the very first screening, which took place here in Philadelphia, a number of people who were in the film, including one of the caregivers who works at Arden Court in Baltimore, Chanel Crowder, she and her family were in the audience. Wow. And it was such pressure because it's like, my goodness, I hope they feel like I've done their story justice. And when it was over, they told me that, they so appreciated it, and it was, their story the way they wanted it told. So that was just incredibly gratifying to me. Oh. And that's been the response that I've received from people,
But you were a broadcast journalist for 25 years, so probably some people already trusted you.
Well, and you know what? That did really help. I found that people felt like, well, you've been in our house,
I know her
home for decades. I know her. She's going to treat this sensitively, and that certainly did open doors for me.
Yeah, it's funny. Lots of times when I'm going to do a new support group at a community, we'll have an event before that, a seminar or something. And then once the people come to the seminar and they meet me, they go, she's okay. I could go to her support group, But because if you have that more of that familiarity, it just
absolutely
helps things. All right, Renee, please stay with us. We're going to hear from some of our wonderful partners, because if we don't hear from them, you don't hear from me. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
We got to hear from the partners. Okay.
All righty. Are you looking for compassionate and dependable home care for you or a loved one? Assisting Hands Home Care, serving Pinellas and Pasco counties, can help.
The day came that taking care of my mother was no longer the best thing for me or for her. Between kids and a job, I couldn't give her the attention she needed and deserved, and I was overwhelmed. So I reached out to Assisting Hands Home Care. Now I can see what an important decision that was, and I feel confident that my mother has compassionate and dependable caregivers who help her to stay happy, healthy, and home. Today, I'm able to visit with my mother and enjoy our time together, which is exactly what we both needed.
Assisting Hands Home Care. Call today for your free in-home consultation. In Pinellas, call 727-748-4211. In Pasco, call 813-280-4383 or visit assistinghands.com. When you can't do it all, give Assisting Hands a call. Arden Courts is an assisted living facility designed to care for those that are struggling with dementia or Alzheimer's, where families and residents can feel the freedom with a nurse on site 24/7. Arden Courts provides specialized memory care in a safe and nurturing environment. They recognize every individual's physical, mental, and social needs and provide a secure environment that fosters independence for as long as possible. Walking paths, visual cues, and home-like amenities invoke a sense of freedom and independence. At Arden Courts, their goal is to make your loved one as comfortable, independent, and healthy as possible. They offer 10 hours a day of activities and programming, with a unique setting of a home-like environment and 4 theme houses. It warms my heart to see how happy the residents are. Please call or stop in to talk with a representative. Arden Courts of Seminole at 727-517-7800, Largo 727-559-8411, or Palm Harbor 727-771-1600. Give them a call.
Is the fear of falling keeping you from doing the things you love? Do you suffer from diabetic neuropathy or plantar fasciitis? VoxLife can help. Whether you're caring for someone you love or being cared for, VoxLife wearable neurotech helps your body reach its full potential. Proven to reduce symptoms of diabetic neuropathy and plantar fasciitis, VoxLife also reduces the risk of falling in adults over the age of 55 by 8 times. VoxLife is a safe, simple, drug-free solution that optimizes your neurology. The biggest breakthrough in wellness in 50 years. VoxLife offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can't afford not to try it. To learn more about VoxLife, go to www.voxlife.com/caregivers. That's www.voxlife.com/caregivers. They help my parents and they can help yours too.
I see trees of green,
Red roses too,
I see them blue
for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Okay, caregivers, now it's time for the caregiver affirmation. Take a minute, take a deep breath, sit down, close your eyes if possible, and just listen to these words. I know on my journey there is help and hope. I affirm that I am a good caregiver, that I try my best each day, and I recognize that I deserve to have my own needs met just as much as those for whom I care. I promise I will not allow myself to be consumed by my caregiving role, and I will set aside time in my busy schedule just for me. I am mindful of the other caregivers in my life, and I will let them know that I appreciate their efforts. I am grateful for the people that walk beside me. I will take good care of my own health physically and spiritually, drink enough water, eat quality foods, allow for time to rest and to exercise, laugh often, if only at myself, and seek medical attention for my own health concerns. I am who I am, and I allow others to be who they are. Today I will add one item to my assisting angels list. Then if someone calls to say, let me know if there's something I can do, I will be ready to accept their offer and provide them with the opportunity to assist me. It is an honor to be of service of others, and I will not deny my friends and family this honor.
Okay, think about it, caregivers.
And this is one of the biggest things we talk about in support groups all the time is about helping yourself, because if you don't help yourself and if you don't let people help you, we can't help you. Too many times caregivers say, no, I'm okay, when they're not okay. Right, Renee?
Absolutely. They take care of everyone else but themselves.
So what can we do to support the caregivers?
That's something that in my interviews, I would say, what is the one thing that you as a caregiver, need? And, the person would initially sort of say, oh my God, what don't I need? But it really came down to just some time for themselves.
Exactly.
Somebody else would just step in and, let the person, go get their hair done or go to the but just some time for themselves, and that's why I think it's so important that we kind of call on the resources in our communities, whether it's our churches, whether it's community centers, but, we've got to get the word out that people need help. And, we each can play a role in that.
And people want to help you. I think many times it's because the caregiver, when you say to the caregiver, what can I do to help you? You just added one more thing to their list that they have to think about.
Well, that's true.
They can't think straight.
Offering to do something, let me do this for you.
And you know what the caregiver will say once in a while? They'll be like, well, could you come over and spend some time with my loved one one day? No, one day is not good. One day doesn't happen. You need to say, could you come over on Tuesday and spend some time with my loved one for a couple hours while I go get a haircut or whatever? And all the time they go, yeah, sure.
For me, the hardest thing for me was I never was in my home by myself. I wanted someone to come and take my husband for a little jaunt somewhere.
Yeah, walk, a lunch or something.
Just to be in your house and just for an hour by yourself.
By yourself.
Yeah.
So I suggest to caregivers many times to just sit down when you have a little time and make a list of some things you can accept help with. So then when someone comes over, you just pull out the list and say, here, pick one.
Yep.
And then it makes it so much easier for everybody. And every single time somebody picks one and they're just glad to do it.
That is so helpful. When I go forward now, I'm going to suggest that because that makes a lot of sense. I like that.
Yeah, somebody said to me they just showed their list to one of their neighbors, and on the list it said, could you mow my lawn? And they said, hey, yes, we could mow your lawn.
Right.
We've been asking you for 6 months.
Just as easy to mow 2 than 1. You just keep going.
Exactly. And it's funny, a couple months ago, one of the caregivers came into one of the support groups and she said, I let my neighbor mow the lawn, and we all clapped. And then she said, but I told him he didn't have to do the edging. We're like, no.
The complete job. That's part of mowing.
Yeah. But she was just so grateful. It's hard for us to ask for help.
Yes, it is. It is.
It's hard for us to ask them for help because we're so vulnerable already with everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I just had this conversation with my mother-in-law. She'll kill me because she's listening today.
Hi, Mom. Mother-in-law.
Hi.
But I had a heart-to-heart with her. And so she said, well, you're too busy. You got all this going on with you. And I said, but if I didn't want to help, I wouldn't ask. But woman to woman, I can't just show up in your home and say, I'm going to do this and that. So I need you to please give me something to do so that I can give you a break. So I know you're listening, Pat. So heed this advice that you're hearing today.
Well, not only does it give Pat a break, you get to spend some time
with her.
With her and with the person that she's caring for. Mm-hmm. Because many times, and I hate to say it, we think we're the bomb caregiver. I'm the bomb. I can do it.
She's a superwoman. Right? I think she can do it, but I think she needs a break.
Well, I think many times, though, I also think that the person you're caring for is thinking, like, could that bomb go take a walk for a little while?
And then it's not just people that have dementia. Or it could be a small... It could even be somebody that has a flu and you just don't want to deal with that. Anybody can be a caregiver. And I think when you start to get to your breaking point, it affects you in so many ways besides the physical, the emotional, the mental. And people do want to help, but we don't know how to help. And I know that it is a burden to say, what can I do? Because they're also flustered. So making a list, I think, is a great idea. And I'm going to use that with people as well as my family and what can we do that is acceptable to you that would give you that, even if it's just a 30-minute break.
Even if it's just taking your garbage out across the street where it's easier for somebody else to do it. You know, when my mom passed away, I was in the supermarket one day and I met a friend of mine and she said, "How are you doing, Linda?" And I said, "I'm doing okay." And she looked at me and she said, "I'm sick of hearing you say that." She said, "I have to tell you, when you took care of your mother, you stole my joy." And I said, "What?" And she said, "I could see you swimming in quicksand. And every time I asked to help you, you just said you were okay, Linda. So you stole my joy."
Wow.
So I tell caregivers, don't steal someone's joy. Wow. We don't realize it. They're asking because they want to help us. They want to see our loved one. A woman that was coming to the group said, oh no, she was listening to the show. And she said, "I've been listening to this show for 6 months, Linda, and I'm a slow learner." She said, "And my husband's dementia is so bad we don't leave the house at all anymore." She said, "But I want to go to church. I've given up everything else, but I want to go to church." She said, "My neighbor's Jewish. He's been asking me forever. What can he do?" So she said, "I finally got the nerve and I went next door and I said, 'Do you think you could hang out with my husband when I go to church on Sunday?' He said, 'I would love to do that.'" And the first day she came home from church, they were playing dominoes and they said to her, "Go away. We don't want you here." So she gets 3 hours every Sunday morning now.
That makes a difference.
And her husband is so happy to see the neighbor and the neighbor's so happy to see him. It's a win-win all around.
That's beautiful. But what's interesting about that, and certainly, I mean, you said that this individual was in the later stages, but I interviewed a doctor who also is a pastor of a church, and he said he wanted his church to be more dementia-friendly so that his parishioners didn't feel like when there is a diagnosis, they have to just disappear with their loved one, which is what he says he has seen happen over the years, and that the church would be a welcoming place. And that a person wouldn't feel like, you know, they couldn't bring a loved one there because maybe they'll speak out in what would be seen as inappropriately, or just make it more supportive. And I thought that was interesting. I mean, we should be making everybody feel, I mean, at the same time, I understand where she needed time by herself to be in church, but I also think we have a responsibility to make the places in which we live.
I've actually approached churches about, you know, how they have the crying rooms for babies. Why can't we have a dementia friendly
for dementia people,
and then do like a mini cafe or a mini daycare?
Well, you know, the same thing they're doing for the children, they could do with the people with dementia.
Or why not together, intergenerational, sometimes and just have somebody that's trained and experienced to know how that if there's an issue that they can then know how to go and redirect it or get the family member out of church to, you know, but at least there is somewhat of a break, and there's ways of making this happen where people don't have to be isolated. And
elderly people love being with kids.
Yeah,
they do.
Right.
What were we talking about the other day? We were talking about Disney.
Yes.
Disney needs to have a center where you can bring your loved one for a couple hours and you can go enjoy the rides, and then you can come back and pick up mom and have a nice dinner. We have it for dogs.
Right.
Yeah, we're a lot nice.
And that's the idea, I think, because these are all great ideas, but we need to get it out there. You know, we need to be talking about this.
Right.
We're in an election year. This is a subject that I think every candidate on both sides of the aisle should be talking about. How are we supporting caregivers, whether it's through tax credits, whether it's through, you know, pressure on employers, and not just, you know, caregivers in terms of, you know, when you have a baby and you get leave, but you know, this should be across the board. It's a conversation that we need to be having, and we need to get momentum around.
But I also think employers need to be educated about resources, because a lot of them, their employees are missing work because their mom or dad needs assistance. They need to go to the doctors, or they wandered, or whatever major event is happening, or they don't want to leave them alone, and now they're taking time off. It's the same with the children. So I agree that we need to
educate the employers, because
get them the
they
resources.
don't know where to go or where to tell people to go. I work part-time as a corporate trainer, and I went to speak at a big company a while ago. And the first time I went to speak about documents for life. The second time it was about senior living options. But the third time I went to speak was about mindful meditation. I usually get 60 to 70 in the class, and they came in and they said, "Linda, we don't care about mindful meditation. We came because you are here. Can you tell me about an elder care attorney? Can you tell me what the difference is between Alzheimer's and dementia?" So here they are begging for this information.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think we sometimes think, the information is out there, and it is, but if it's not getting to people who need it, then it's like it's not there to begin with. So you're right.
Renee, I'm not a dumb bunny, but I didn't find out what respite care was till I was in my bereavement group.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I knew nothing about caregiving until, over a decade ago when my dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And all of a sudden, he's in hospice in our home. We're caregivers. So no, you don't learn about things until you're in it. And,
yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the event.
And then, ladies, I am actually going to have to leave in just a few minutes.
Okay.
Speaking of caregiving, my mom lives with me, and Saturdays are her day to do all her errands. So I dropped her off this morning, and there will be what to pay if I'm not there to pick her up. So I've got just a few more minutes, and I'm going to have to hop off. But actually, Bernadette, you probably are in the best position to talk about the details of Wednesday.
I put it together with the help of a couple of team community partners. This is a team effort, although I tend to be a little bit controlling about things sometimes and details. But I do have an army of people behind me that are making this successful. So, but if there's any last minute things you want to say before you go, then I can talk about the program.
Just that, I'm excited about, the panel that we're having afterwards. And, in the other screenings, we've had doctors and, caregivers and a spokesperson from the Alzheimer's Association. And we have all that on Wednesday. But in addition, we have an attorney. And that's something that I had often felt in doing this was an issue, sort of the legal ramifications of this and the implications. And that was something that I didn't address in the documentary. So I'm so excited that Professor Grant from FAMU is going to be joining us. He's a law professor who specializes in trusts and estates.
Perfect.
And so he can sort of bring a legal dimension to this discussion.
All right, honey. Well, we'll let you go now. Take care of Mom, and I look forward to meeting you.
I can't wait to see everyone on Wednesday. And thank you, ladies, for what you do. I think that this caregiver program that you have on the radio is so powerful. Let me just ask you, do you have a podcast? Because I'm going to send all this out on Facebook.
You can go to YouTube. Everything's on YouTube.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to share because people need to know about this.
Perfect.
Here in cold Philadelphia. Okay.
We'll bring some sunshine to you.
Okay, I can't wait. Thank you again. Everyone take care and have a beautiful Saturday.
You too. Have a delicious day.
I'll see you next week, Renee.
Okay, can't wait. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, so the conference is at
First Baptist Church of College Hill in Tampa.
And it's Wednesday, February 12th. Registration is at 1:30 and the event is from 2 to 4.
Yes.
And it says on the flyer here, the touching stories told through the voices of those experiencing the disease, those working to stop it, and why it matters to all of us.
Correct.
So
the documentary is going to hit all on that, and then the panel discussion will expand on what the documentary may have or may not have touched on. So.
Okay. But the biggest thing is we're just trying to promote awareness.
Exactly. Again, awareness, the impact that it's not one culture, it's not one age group. This impacts everybody. It affects everybody. Age, you got family members that are this sandwich generation. It's the daughter that's raising young children and taking care of mom or a granddaughter. Renee is in that situation. I think she has a 16-year-old son, I think it is, and taking care of her mom. Yep. And so there's that caregiver stress. And then what resources are available? As the conditions change, there are other resources out there. But people don't know how to navigate it even with the internet. When you go on there, it can be very confusing.
Yes, it can be very confusing.
You need somebody that you feel that you can trust and talk to that can navigate you through it and point you in the right direction.
Right.
And I am just so excited for having a bachelor's of social work background, not always utilizing it, although in the job that I have, I think I use my social work skills more than I ever did in any job that I had prior to coming to Arden Courts. So I'm very grateful to HCR Manicare Paramedic or Arden Courts for allowing me to expand my horizons and to reach out to communities.
Arden Courts is so progressive.
Yes.
Arden Courts is always looking for what do we need to take care of next? How can we change this? How we can make it better? A lot of communities just they stay stuck in their own little way.
Well, a couple of people have approached me like, why would that you're out of the price range for most of the folks that you're targeting? And I said, regardless, it's a win-win on all levels. One is that the social worker and me wanting to give the resources to folks that don't know how to tap into it. Two is that that's not always true. There are been African Americans and Hispanics that have lived in our community. I've been with the company over 17 years, and we have seen families move their loved ones in. And because they're working professionals, they can't be giving their devoted time to their mom and dad. They understand that this disease takes so much, and that by leaving your loved one at home, sometimes it's a disservice. Sometimes getting them into an adult day or an assisted living where there is some supportive services and they're engaged in activities. The research shows the more engaged somebody is, the better it is for everybody, especially the person with the disease. So my passion, I've always been passionate about this, is getting research information and out to the folks. And the other thing that we didn't touch on is the reason for this program is that African Americans, Hispanics, and Native Americans do not get involved with research studies. So a lot of the medications that we take today are based on the genetic breakdown of us. So they're reaching out. A secondary part of this documentary is to try to get more people involved with some of the research studies, because there's so many new research studies out there. Attorney April Hill just was sharing with me that I think USF was doing something with some kind of a cap that you put on the head and it stimulates the brain. I have to talk to Eileen Poyley and the team when we're on next week on this. But there's so much out there that even myself as a professional, I don't realize we have. So it's not one person is going to be that. It's going to be a partnership of we all working together, and that it's not, it's me and I'm going to do it. I want to share the wealth, because when you do good comes back to you. And I think that's what's most important. My heart is that we all are going to work together and help everyone in the community, because ultimately it's going to affect us across the board. It does. And I've always been that way. So
but right now we need to hear from Arden Courts and our other partners. So don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today, or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me twice a week. And did you know they got the Reader's Choice Award for 2019 for the best chiropractic in Pinellas County? So check them out. Arden Courts is an assisted living facility designed to care for those that are struggling with dementia or Alzheimer's, where families and residents can feel the freedom with a nurse on site 24/7. Arden Courts provides specialized memory care in a safe and nurturing environment. They recognize every individual's physical, mental, and social needs and provide a secure environment that fosters independence for as long as possible. Walking paths, visual cues, and home-like amenities invoke a sense of freedom and independence. At Arden Courts, their goal is to make your loved one as comfortable, independent, and healthy as possible. They offer 10 hours a day of activities and programming, with a unique setting of a home-like environment and 4 theme houses. It warms my heart to see how happy the residents are. Please call or stop in to talk with a representative. Arden Courts of Seminole at 727-517-7800, Largo 727-559-8411, or Palm Harbor 727-771-1600. Give them a call.
Guaranteed to make you laugh through your tears, Linda Burhan's book, Good Night and God Bless, is filled with humor and heartfelt inspiration to aid anyone facing the challenge of caring for a loved one at the end of life. Her story offers hope for human strength and understanding of weaknesses during a difficult time. Life doesn't normally prepare us to become a loved one's caregiver. When it happens, it's usually sudden. A diagnosis of an illness, age-related frailty, dementia, and life suddenly suddenly is anything but normal. And because we don't even know what we don't know, where do we turn to for help or guidance? In Connecting Caregivers, Answers to the Questions You Didn't Know You Needed to Ask, Linda offers information, education, and inspiration from her own experience and from experts whose advice, practical tools, and personal stories will empower and guide you. Make sure to add these inspiring books to your collection today. Available on Amazon.com.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
To their website. And then
Yeah.
everybody's in. And we're off. You know what that means when you hear those horns? It's time to get your pen and paper because Lynn's got good stuff to tell you, right, Lynn?
I do. On February 12th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. with registration at 10:30 at Arden Courts in Largo is a free dementia seminar on navigating Alzheimer's and the Alzheimer's spouse with guest speaker Mary Kay Doyle. Please RSVP to 727-559-8411. Then on February 12th, again, we can make a whole day with Arden Courts. On February 12th from 2 to 4 p.m. with registration at 1:30 at First Baptist Church of College Hill in Tampa is a film, In Our Right Mind, about the impact of Alzheimer's and other dementias in communities of color. Reserve your tickets, free tickets at eventbrite.com.
Okay, let's give them the other information.
There's
where they can find that.
an easy bit.ly. Bit.ly, it's bit.ly/390 lowercase j uppercase p to lowercase b. You don't know what I just said, go to BHOMAN at hcr-manorcare.com. You can email me directly. My name is Bernadette, or you can call or text me at 727-692-9117. I'll make sure I clean up my old messages so calls can be left.
And all the information is on my website also under events.
Okay, and then on Wednesday, February 19th from 3 to 4:30 p.m. in St. Anthony's Hospital Auditorium in St. Petersburg, Stephanie Edwards of Edwards Elder Law will give a free seminar on estate planning issues, including the importance of updated durable power of attorney, and about the Medicaid assisted living waiting list. RSVP to 727-825-1595.
And I love Stephanie Edwards, and she just explains things so clearly for people.
Yes.
Which I think is so important because we get nervous when we have to go through all that document kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Then on Wednesday, February 27th from 10:30 to 1 p.m. at St. Catherine of Siena Catholic Church in Clearwater is a free dementia education seminar, The Dementia Dance, When to Lead and When to Follow, with guest speaker Arlinda Burhan.
Well, that's me.
There will also be a virtual dementia tour. RSVP to 727-200-4174.
And I will be doing the dementia dance presentation also at Arden Courts in Seminole on tax day, April 15th. So it's easy to remember. So if anybody can't make it to St. Catherine's, please come there because I think it's really important. It's a great presentation.
It is.
And then every Wednesday in February from 12 to 1 p.m. at the Sunshine Center in St. Petersburg, Susan Brem will facilitate a care partner support group. For more information, call 727-490-8609. Lots of good information.
Because there's lots of stuff going on. It's good. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we want caregivers to come to this event.
We want everybody to come to this event. The church can hold 600 people.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I thought 500. I got clarification. It's 600. And if it goes beyond 600, there's a way for us to then add more. And my personal goal was 300. I figured, I haven't looked at the list right now, but I think we're close to 100 at the moment. The newspaper ads went out, I believe, on Friday. So
now a whole bunch more people know about it today.
Yes. So, and I did try to make it so people across this side of the bay and Pinellas can make it and get back to Pinellas before the traffic, because 4:00 is about when you're a good time to leave, and then co-drive. Rent a van, get a bus together. Maybe a church will get a group of people. This is this is not something to sit back and go, it's on the other side of the bay.
Right.
This affects us across the globe. And if we can have both sides of the bay get together and work together, collaborate on getting things resources. We have families that live in Pinellas that have loved ones in Hillsborough and vice versa.
Right.
So they don't always know what's available because they only know what's in their back door. So why not share this? And
I'm sure down the road somewhere this will be available virtually for people in other states that can't come.
Yes.
Because I know she's going on the road to different states.
And actually, the Alzheimer's Association is working with some program down in South St. Pete that it'll be around April, I believe. So we'll have more information about that. And they're hoping to maybe bring Renee back. We're still working out the details on that. But if not, we're working out how we can get the video. I'm working on Renee and about whether I can, Arden Courts locally, we can go to churches or communities and show the video and do a presentation and just share it with them. So, so there's many ways that we're looking at for the future of how to get the word across for those that can't come. But if you can, please share this with somebody that would be interested in making it over there.
And if you live in a community, if you live in a mobile home park, if you have some people from your church and you need any information from us, not just about this seminar, you need somebody to come in and talk about caregiving. You need somebody to come in and talk about resources. We will do it. I always tell you, I don't have the answers to everything, but I know people that do have the answers to anything. And we can set up a panel, a discussion, a seminar. So we're offering this to the public. Please take advantage of that because knowledge is power. And the more information, your caregiving experience can be the most horrific experience of your life or close to beautiful, depending on how you handle it. And that's why we have this show. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in today. I want you to go to the website, lindaburhans.com, and nominate a caregiver for our caregiver contest.
We have lots of good prizes.
We have lots of good prizes. So every person that is nominated for the contest receives something because you're all winners to us. We just pick a name out of a hat. There's nobody has a special is better than anybody because all caregivers are wonderful. Mm-hmm. And the winner gets 8 hours of respite care, either from Arden Courts, Assisting Hands Home Care, or Maria's Adult Daycare. And they get a massage and a haircut and a dinner certificate and whatever. We never know what we have. Sometimes we had a Kindle Fire or, whatever kind of thing.
A lot of good things.
But it's a wonderful way for a caregiver to take a break for a day, and also introduce their loved one maybe to respite care that they've never been to an adult daycare or anything like that. It's a good way to try it out. So I'm so glad that you're here today. I know how valuable your time is. As I say, there's always room around the Connecting Caregivers table for more people. You can listen to us live on Facebook, on YouTube, on the radio we're like now, on Apple iTunes, and wherever we can get. And hopefully one day we'll have our own TV show, and then you'll see us too. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about Vox, and health coach detective Tammy Taylor is going to be on the show.
Oh, good.
Remember, God loves you all the time, and have a delicious day.
When you're down and trouble and you need